All right, everybody. Today we are joined by SirHobo, veteran for the Midlanders, and he's here to just talk a little bit about Midlanders and the game as a whole. There's a lot of new players coming into it with that sale weekend. A lot of green leaves, a lot more people, a little more active on Reddit. So thought it'd be a good idea to just grab a veteran and see what he has to say about the game. So thanks for joining us, SirHobo.
It's my pleasure.
Cool, man.
It's anything to help out. We've been building the community in Midland there for several years, so I'm glad that you're doing these videos.
And how long have you been part of the Midlanders?
I joined it late 2015 around Christmas,
Oh wow.
but I was mostly active in 2016 at around Steam launch.
So that's a long time. And so would you say that most of the people that you've played with are consistently playing since that time, or is there influxes of new players a lot?
There's waves of players. People will play for a while. There tends to be a little bit of a burnout, just to, like in any MMO. People will take a break. It's not unusual to have people come back after a year or two. I took a year and a half break at one point too. But yeah, I mean, our veterans tend to be. We tend to retain our veterans more than other nations, from what my opinion is.
Okay, that's awesome. And so where would you where would you start as a new player? Like, what would be kind of like your best tip for starting like a new player jumping in here? What would you tell them the first thing they should probably know about the game?
The first thing I'm going to tell them to do would probably do your starter quest from Sir Robert. That'll get you in 90 minutes. You can get to level 40, and you can start to get into at least doing some early stage group quests, group PvE quests, and that'll start getting you money and recipes, everything that you need in the game. And it takes about 90 minutes to get started in that.
So overall, with this game, would you say like, as far as when it comes to gear and leveling and stuff, do you think it's a grindy game, or do you think it's pretty, new player friendly?
I think it's new player friendly. I've been playing MMOs for 20 years, so I've got some experience coming from Conan Exiles. I played Lord of the Rings online for a while, Dungeons and Dragons online. I played several different MMOs over the years, Conan Exiles as well too. I think this is really a newbie friendly game. Just in the like, you're able to get into your high tier gear probably within about a 5 to 6 hour span if you really put your effort into it. So, um, I mean, there's no reason within 8 hours of you starting that you can't be running in top gear if you really put your mind into it. So,
That's awesome. That's good to know. And I think that's kind of what enticed me to this game is when I first started playing it, I was like, man, we'll just give it a shot. It was on sale on Steam. So jumping in here it was a lot of fun. And you can jump into those VOD events. And even as like a lower level, you can actually, it still does feel like you can actually, fight some people. Like, granted, you are getting hit a little bit harder, but you're not just completely useless. It's not like you're like a WoW, let's say for instance, like a low level, fighting a maxed out character. They do a good job of it in this game.
they do really do a good job, and especially if you've got some situational awareness, even low-level characters can really turn the tide in a PvP battle. Just everybody dealing damage and being in the proper position for a good fight. It doesn't matter if you're level 40 or if you're level 100. I mean, a level 40 you'll still be able to if you know it. Generally, a veteran, if you start out a new veteran can take down a level 100 if you know what you're doing. But generally, a level 40, once you start to get into your PvP, I mean, just the damage you do could help turn a fight.
That's awesome. And so you've been here for quite a bit of changes throughout the game. So you've seen map changes and all kinds of things. And so, how do you like? What is your opinion on the development team? Do they do regular updates? Is that something you've seen a lot of changes of, or is it few and far between?
Well, see, I might be a little bit of a special case because I've been a supporter of the game. I got the Galleon's Crusader chainmail put in. I've had long conversations with the dev team. I think this dev team is a great team. They put out weekly updates. They respond to their community. Uh, especially when the whole community comes together, when there's something they don't like, the devs will address it. Um, they can take a joke. I meme these guys in the Discord.
Yeah,
They're a really down to earth, good group of people that they didn't want to sell out. They wanted to retain their integrity for their vision of the game, and I really there's very few corporations I've ever had the pleasure of coming across that I actually fully support, and this team is the only one that I can name off the top of my head.
that's awesome, man. That's good to hear. So leading into that, I know like there's talk of the game actually coming out of early access and actually being released or like a 1.0 thing. So I know that might be a rumor mill thing. Is that something that, you think is happening this year? Because to me, that usually when games like this have been around a while and then they reach that point, there's a lot bigger influx of players because they start to see advertising and things like that through Steam.
Well, 1.0 is definitely the benchmark. That's what the devs are striving for. There's is some a few different things that they wanted. They're going to do a bit of a combat with their combat animations. They're going to be doing an update as well. There's going to be a map update as well too, which is going to change the starter areas. Then there's other long-term stuff that they have that they want to get implemented. I've been bugging them, well, the community has been bugging them, but I've been memeing them for several years about guild banks. That's rumored to be put in before 1.0, so we're looking forward to that, which is dramatically going to change how we interact with within our guilds. And I think that's going to be a positive benefit, hopefully. So, yeah. They definitely 1.0 is the benchmark for what they're trying to achieve, and there is a few things that they want to get implemented before then, but I do believe by the end of the year, if not early next year, it'll be fully released. But they only got one shot at it, so they want to take their time and do this properly. So.
That's cool. Yeah, I like that. Um, and so for me, like this is a type of game where it's nice. They have great things on here where you can AFK like mine and fish and excavate and things like that. Um, but do you feel like this is a game like where if you go missing for periods of time, do you really fall behind, or is this something like people can jump into, kind of like on short term, like jump in, do the events, jump out, like you don't have to grind a whole bunch here, right?
Well, if you're going to be working the market and doing a profession, you can definitely jump in and jump out. As long as you're not dealing in too much food. If you're going to be taking an extended break, the only profession that you're really going to have a decay on is food. Anything else, I mean, if you're going to be a miner, I mean, your coal isn't going to decay or anything. So whenever you want to hop back in and put it on the market or use it to produce goods and equipment out of it, it's always going to be there. So, but yeah, it's definitely depending on your play style is really what this game gives you. It's a great open world game, and it's one of the very few games that I enjoy just actually being in the world because the crafting is pretty robust and you can just kick away doing like I like farming, for instance. I'm getting my cooking up, and I don't mind farming and fishing just to spend some time doing that. So, yeah, it's just a game that you enjoy being in the world if you like it.
And so, um, as far as your experience with the other nations, let's say somebody else is watching this and new somebody joining the game, like how do you? I mean, is everybody pretty much as far as you're concerned? To me, it feels like the community overall is really good. Doesn't matter what nation I seem to be talking to or anything like that. Everybody overall is friendly. Is that also like your experience through the whole thing?
Yeah, there's definitely rivalries and there's definitely personalities that don't get along, but overall, we're a small community that really wants to see the game succeed. And I've had the pleasure of talking with several different leaders within the game over the years, and really, the community just wants to see I mean, a good product like anything else. But I mean, uh, um, yeah, I think I Yeah, I guess that's about my answer on that.
Yeah, that's cool. That works, man. That's awesome to hear. Um, I
Oh,
had a
going further into that,
yeah.
the community. I used to make like I've made the community is great for providing. They used to be great for providing resources before the multiple changes. There was a GV information site where
Mhm.
they had an interactive map.
Okay.
Now that is rumored to be coming back as long as the devs give them the updated data for that. So there's still, from what I understand, some discussions to be had, and there's going to be changes to the game. So, but people regularly, like you, there's been other people. I've made starter videos for each nation. Other people have made videos for starter quests. Like the community, it may be small, but it does seem pretty involved for the level of involvement seems pretty high for a small community. People really want to promote it and help out however they can.
And that's how I've really noticed too. So that's what is nice is like the wiki isn't the most helpful, but you can through some digging and I found that interactive map like you're talking about. It is it 100%. It's still somewhat. I found some of the resources there, but I've definitely dropped that in other videos and just hey, this is something of older, but it does work for some things still. Now, so let's go. Okay, like time for like two more. Let's what would you say Midlanders? What separates the Midlanders from the other two? What makes
Uh,
them the best to you?
I would say it's the community. We've
Okay,
spent a long time building a community aspect. I mean, there is guilds in the nation, and we all do operate within our guilds, but we all spend our time in nation comms. We take new players, we put them immediately into nation comms so that people from all guilds uh, can help impart experience immediately. Really, we've, the guys in Midland, the people in Midland, some of them have played for hundreds or thousands of hours together. I've got 5,000, 6,000 hours with some of the guys in games. So,
jeez,
um, yeah, like it's a real sense of community, and in a fight, it works. Like that's how we're able to take on uh, groups larger than us sometimes is because you don't have to worry about the guy beside you breaking and running because you know how he fights.
that's awesome.
Um, yeah, and that's what I really think it separates us from the other nations.
All right, last thing. So you briefly brought up rivalries and stuff. So the end of these videos, I do want to do a chance to call out somebody or a whole guild. You got somebody that you want to call out?
No, not necessarily.
No.
I enjoy the regular PvP rivalries, but I'm not generally somebody that calls out people or unless you do something stupid. If you do something stupid, you'll see my meme about you on Discord. So,
All right, sir. But well, hey, thanks for joining me today, man. This is awesome. I can't wait to get this finished up and posted up there. So, you guys got any comments? Drop them below. Or if you're a Midlander, search for SirHobo. He seems awesome. I'm sure he'd be happy to answer some questions for you.
all right, thanks a lot.
Hey, thanks, Ben.